Welcome, welcome, welcome into another day and another lesson in A Course in Miracles. Today we're on lesson 138. Heaven is a decision I must make. Heaven is a decision you must make, we must make. And yesterday we were on lesson 137. When we are healed, we are not healed alone. In fact, when we are healed, we are not healed alone. Before we get into today's offering, let's ready ourselves to receive. Closing your eyes or settling your gaze a few inches in front of you. And just tuning in to that quiet voice of truth as we get to rest in God for a moment. So allow the outside world to just fade away into the distance as you bring your full attention to right here, right now, as we ready ourselves for this decision that we must make. Using the breath by breathing in and breathing out, either out through the nose or out through the mouth, whatever feels best for you right now. As we take about 3 more breaths here, clearing our minds and opening the heart. Last breath here. And as you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes, gently bringing your attention back to the space as we get into this lesson. In this world, heaven is a choice, because here we believe that there are alternatives for us to choose between. We think that all the things have an opposite and that what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, then there must be a hell as well. For contradiction is the way that we make what we see and what we think is real. Here's the thing though, creation knows no opposite. But here is opposition a part of being real. It is a strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. That's not what this really is. Yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form that the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error. Truth can be brought to illusions. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome, and then the truth cannot come. So choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one of the conflicting goals become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. So without decision, time is but a waste, and our effort is dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain because nothing is accomplished, and that means there's nothing that's been learned. So we need to be reminded that we think 1,000 choices are confronting us when there's really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. So let's not confuse ourselves with all the doubts that a myriad of decisions would induce. We make but one. And when that one is made, we will perceive that it's really no choice at all. For truth is true, and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to the truth. So choosing depends on learning. And the truth cannot be learned, only recognized. In recognition, the acceptance of the truth comes. And as it's accepted, it's known. But knowledge is beyond the goals that we seek to teach within the framework of this course. So it's not even trying to teach us knowledge here. Ours are teaching goals to be attained through learning how to reach those teaching goals, to know what they are and to know what they have to offer us. Decisions are the outcome of our learning because they rest on what we've accepted as the truth of who we are and what our needs must be. So in this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take on the form of choice rather than merely just being what it is, right? And another term that the Course uses and that I like to use for heaven is God's reality, right? God's reality appears to take the form of choice rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices we have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and a prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If we could decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when we solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions just conceal this one by taking different forms. So here is the final and the only choice in which truth is accepted or denied. So we're going to begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. We are here to make this choice. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the intent that we gave time, that it be a means for demonstrating that hell is real, that hope changes to despair, and that life itself must end, in the end, be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die. That's what we made time for. And thus salvation must be seen as death, because life is seen as conflict. So to resolve the conflict is to end our lives as well. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip our minds with terror and anxiety that is so strong that our mind won't relinquish its ideas about our own protection. So we think our minds must be safe from salvation, threatened to be safe, and magically armored against the truth. And these decisions are made unaware, because when we stay in a lack of awareness, that keeps them safely undisturbed, apart from question and from reason and from doubt. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, and this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment that the mind has made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. And when they're causeless, now they are without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as the ending of the fear of hell. So as we choose for heaven, we're going to stop being afraid of hell when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable and the other as completely worthless, the completely worthless thing, but imagined source of guilt and pain? So who would hesitate to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate? Are you and I going to hesitate to choose today. We make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo-being brought to what is real is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now, for what was made enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity for fear for us to invest ourselves there. Now we can recognize it as but a foolish, trivial mistake. Before we close our eyes and sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. And as every hour passed, we have declared our choice again in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And finally, we close the day with this, acknowledging we chose but what we want. Heaven is a decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Awesome. So we are going to start off with what it said to begin our day with, and we'll spend the 5 minutes together. We're going to consider the choice that time was made to help us make. That's the holy purpose of time. We're here to transform it from the intent that we gave it. And we have to choose heaven consciously. So that's how we're going to spend these 5 minutes. And then in the last 5 minutes of the day, you'll go into that practice with what we just finished reading. And then every hour in between, maintaining our sanity to the best of our ability. All right, let's get started with these 5 minutes. Again, considering the choice that time was made to help us make. awesome, beautiful practice period. Yeah, and one of the things my teacher, Earl Purdy, has helped me with so much is recognizing all the different definitions. Like, as much as the lesson talked about heaven or hell, if those feel abstract, it's like love or fear, guilt or innocence, abundance and being sustained by the love of God, or lack, and that only one of those is real. Only the truth is true, and we get to choose. So we're going to reaffirm the choice that we're making from when we wake up to when we go to bed, and then completing out the last 5 minutes of the day, or before we're about to go to sleep. And we want to choose, again, closing the day, acknowledging that we chose what we want, that heaven is a decision that we must make, and we make it now and will not change our mind, because it's the only thing that we want. Much love, and I will look forward to joining with you as we move along to lesson 139 tomorrow.